The NFL draft is almost here, so it's time for my final Bears mock draft 3.0, where I have the Bears staying at pick number 9. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears draft discussion video, which I'll be doing throughout this entire draft season. Draft season is almost over now. I think when you guys are watching this video, the draft is probably only going to be a week or maybe a week and a half away from actually happening. I will be live streaming my reactions to days 1 and 2 of the draft on my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to see my live reaction to all those picks, be sure to tune in on my channel. I also will be having breakdown videos for all the picks the Bears make when those picks actually are made. But yeah, in this final mock draft, guys, I will be staying at pick number 9. I already did 2 other mock drafts where I had the Bears trading down from pick number 9. So check out those videos if you haven't already, but I don't want to waste too much time. Let's just get in to the final mock draft. With the first pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the Chicago Bears select J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan. No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously going to be Caleb Williams. I'm not going to change this pick, even though I am changing the other picks in this mock draft to give you guys some fresh new faces that you may have not heard of yet being mocked to the Bears in my other mock drafts. I am not going to be changing the number 1 overall pick because we all know it is going to be Caleb Williams. I'm not even going to be talking about this pick for too much because I've already broken down Caleb Williams in my other videos. If you guys want more of my thoughts on Caleb as a prospect, watch my other videos, including my other mock drafts and a long 20-minute breakdown I made about a month and a half ago when Fields was still on the roster, breaking down the differences between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. But yeah, Caleb is going to be the pick because he is the best quarterback available in this draft when you look at him in all aspects of quarterbacking, okay? If you look at him in terms of decision making, processing on tape, he has shown he can be really good at doing that. Obviously not perfect. There are some inconsistencies he's going to have to work out at the next level, but you can say the same about any prospect in any year, at the quarterback spot. You obviously have to adjust the speed of the NFL game, but Caleb showed a lot of promising things on tape in terms of being able to diagnose coverages and attacking the middle of the field, especially something he does a lot better than our last quarterback Justin Fields did. Caleb, at least in college, showed the ability to attack the middle of the field with the quick release that he has, and I think it will translate to the next level. If you look at him in terms of creating out of structure, he can do that the best out of anybody in this class. You guys have seen his highlights. Even when the play has broken down, he somehow finds a way to get somebody open, to keep the play alive, and get those big chunk plays at 30, 40 yards down the field. If you look at his speed, his ability to run with the football, he can do that as well. He can put the moves on you in the open field, juke defenders, do that spin move. He showed off that spin move against Utah, I believe, last year. So he has the ability to run with the football on the ground too. So this is a quarterback that is very well rounded, extremely talented, a good leader of men too, as all of his teammates have suggested at USC. So there is no question about it. Caleb Williams is going to be the pick for the Chicago Bears. With the 9th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze, receiver out of Washington. Rome Odunze is the most popular mocked player I've seen to the Chicago Bears, and with good reason, because even though the Bears already have 2 solid receivers in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, receiver prospects like Rome Odunze do not come around this often. He's only going to be available to the Bears because there's 2 other really talented receivers also available in this class by the names of Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers. It's one of the best classes I've seen at the receiver spot in a long time, maybe ever. So if the Bears get lucky enough to the point where a receiver like Rome Odunze is available to them at pick number 9 without them having to trade up for him, I think the Bears might have to take that shot because Ryan Poles probably is not planning on having a top 10 pick for a long time after this year, okay? If things go according to plan, if Caleb Williams ends up being the guy and the Bears start winning a lot of games, then we're not going to have a pick this high for a long time. So this might be our last chance to get a true blue chip prospect in the top of a draft, and to get it at the receiver spot, a position where it's so extremely difficult to find those elite guys. And when you do find an elite guy, teams do not let go of them usually, unless you're the Carolina Panthers, who traded away DJ Moore to us. But you're gonna have to pay those guys a lot of money. So to get a receiver, a very talented receiver on a rookie contract, is the second most valuable asset in my opinion to a quarterback, a very good quarterback on a rookie contract. So basically teaming up Caleb Williams with Rome Odunze to keep these guys together, hopefully for a long time in a Bears uniform, that could be a duo that could help the Chicago Bears win a championship eventually. And talking more about Rome Odunze as a prospect, he reminds me so much of DeAndre Hopkins in his playing style. He is not the fastest guy in the world. If you look at his RAS, he still tested pretty well. I mean, 9.69 is still really, really good. If you look at his 40-yard dash time, solid 4.47, very good explosion, very good size, but he does not have like that 4.3, Malik Neighbors type speed, I would say, but he is a contested catch machine, okay? If you want a guy that can go up and win a jump ball, a guy that can send off in the end zone to turn a 50-50 ball into a 80-20 ball for you, Rome Odunze is that guy. He led all of college football in contested catches last year with 24. I mean, his ball tracking is top notch. His ability to contort his body to any angle to catch the ball. His hands are really good. His ability to get up and jump over the DB is really, really solid. And he seems to have a natural instinct that you just cannot teach when he's going up to win a jump ball. Like, he just snatches it out of the air like a DeAndre Hopkins does, like a Julio Jones did in a way. And, again, I'm not trying to say that he's going to be those guys per se, but I think some of the playing style is a little bit similar. Another guy that he's a little bit similar to is current Bears receiver Keenan Allen. Just like Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze does not win with straight line speed, but he does win with good ball tracking, with good instincts, with good route running. Now, he's not as good of a route runner as Keenan Allen is right now, obviously, so he can still learn a lot from Keenan Allen, which is why I think that adding him to the current Bears receiving room would be a match made in heaven for Rome Odunze, because he could learn so much from Keenan Allen in practice in terms of his footwork, in terms of his timing on his routes, in terms of, diagnosing those coverages that he's going to have to go up against and finding the soft spot in the zone. He could learn a lot of that from Keenan Allen while Keenan Allen is here. But even at Washington, I feel like Rome Odunze was a pretty solid route runner. Like, his change of direction was pretty good. His overall football IQ, I feel like, was pretty good. That's why he had so much production the last 2 years at Washington. Last year at Washington, he had 1,640 receiving yards on top of 13 receiving touchdowns. The year prior, he had 1,145 receiving yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. So this is a guy that's produced big time at a big time program in Washington that went to the national championship game last year. Obviously came up short to Michigan, but that was no fault of Rome Odunze, because I feel like he was Washington's best player last year. So overall, there's so much to like in Rome Odunze as a prospect. He's such a nice and fun guy too. If you guys have heard him talk before, he had an interview with some Bears reporters during the offseason process, which you guys should check out if you haven't already. He's already dapped up Caleb Williams too in the past at the NFL Combine, so I think it would be a perfect match for the Chicago Bears to set up their quarterback of the future in Caleb Williams with their receiver of the future in Rome Odunze. We have a trade. Even though this was the stay at number 9 mock draft, I will be trading down later at our 3rd round pick because I want the Bears to have more picks. Okay, I think that if Ryan Poles is not in love with anybody at pick number 75, he very easily could trade down just to get some more picks to help round out the roster and the roster depth. Only having 4 picks is not ideal, and Ryan Poles has traded down multiple times in previous drafts, so I think it could make a lot of sense. And the 49ers could be a perfect partner here because they have a lot of picks. They have 10 total picks in the 2024 draft, and with how good their roster is, I don't think they need all these picks. I think that if John Lynch really likes somebody available at the top of the 3rd round at pick number 75, he would be okay with sacrificing a couple of 4th round picks to go up and get his guy. And in terms of the Jimmy Johnson trade value chart, which is not the most used chart anymore, but it's still a good baseline, like, this is a pretty even trade point wise. The 49ers are actually getting a little bit extra value here, so the Bears maybe could get another pick later on to make it a little bit more fair. But I think I'd be happy with this trade if I was a Bears fan, because adding 2 more picks on day 3 could really help the Bears add to their roster depth. With the 94th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Braylon Trice, edge rusher out of Washington. I'm selecting another Husky here because I think he fits a great need on the Bears defensive line, and he is a very gifted athlete that I'm sure Matt Eberflus will love to coach up, and I'm sure Ryan Poles is going to love selecting because he loves to select these high RAS guys at the top of each of his drafts. Now, looking at his RAS, it's not the best of the best. 7.49 is still pretty good, but it's not an elite score, but that's only because his size is not the best. And yes, that could be something that deters the Bears from selecting him because they have like the lengthier and more bigger, bulkier guys at edge, but I feel like Brilliant Trice could be an exception because his speed is really good, his agility is really good, explosion pretty solid, and if you watch him on tape, I feel like he has a very solid speed and power combo. Usually you get guys that are really good at one, either being a speed rusher or a power rusher, but I feel like Brilliant Trice does have the ability to be pretty good at both because he plays a lot bigger than his actual size. He has some fantastic power in his lower body, which he uses to generate some solid pressure during his bull rushes. He always keeps his feet moving. Very physical and aggressive at the point of attack. He has a nice first punch. He always stays engaged on his blocks and never really gives up. I think that's something I really like in him, that he made some big time plays looping around and cleaning up a sack that maybe his teammate was not able to clean up because he stayed engaged and focused during his pursuit. And I think that Matt Eberflus is going to love his relentless energy and pursuit that he shows when he's out there on the football field. If you look at his stats, so last year he had 7 sacks, 11.5 tackles for loss, also had a forced fumble. If you look at the prior year, he had 9 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. So pretty consistent production during the last 2 years at Washington. I don't see him as a high-end edge 1 or high-end edge 2, but I feel like he could be a pretty solid edge 2, be a solid complement to Montez Sweat, working with DeMarcus Walker to be, that rotational pass rusher this year on the opposite side. I think that he could be a fantastic pick for the Chicago Bears. With the 122nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Mason Smith, defensive tackle out of LSU. I want to keep adding more beef to the defensive line because football is won in the trenches, guys. Like last year, we had pretty solid secondary play throughout the entire season, but some games we still allowed too many points because our defensive line lacked the depth on it. And I feel like especially with the departure of Justin Jones, you have to add another defensive tackle at some point, whether that be through the NFL draft or another signing that we make, because I just don't see too much depth behind guys like Javon Dexter and Andrew Billings. If one of those goes down, we might be kind of screwed. But Mason Smith could be a fantastic depth interior defensive lineman that maybe could start eventually if he does develop in Eberflus' system. And looking at his RAS score, first of all, very talented athlete, one that I'm sure Ryan Poles is going to love selecting. 8.99 RAS, very good size, very good, pretty good speed, pretty good agility, pretty good explosion. He's very well rounded as an athlete, which is why his RAS score is so high. And he showed off those athletic gifts on tape. He has a pretty nice initial first step, very good acceleration, very good reaction time off the snap. In terms of his pad level, that could improve in terms of like hand usage, in terms of like the amount of moves he has to go to. That could definitely use some work. He's very raw right now, so the Bears coaching staff is going to have to do a good job developing him, but all the raw tools and upside are there in Mason Smith. And if you look at his stats, so last year he had 4.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks. He actually got injured in 2022, so he missed, I believe, all of 2022, but the prior year he had 4 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. So 2021 was his best year. After that, he cooled off a little bit because he did get injured in 2022, but there's a lot of upside in him where I feel like if he does go to the right system, I think the Bears could be that right system. He could be a fantastic pick on day 3 of the draft. With the 124th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Tanner Bordellini, center out of Wisconsin. Tanner Bordellini is a very versatile offensive lineman. He's mostly played center. He has 14 starts at center, but he's also played left guard, 7 starts there. Right tackle, he had 3 starts there. He also played right guard, had 2 starts there. Also played at tight end a couple snaps as well because he is very, very athletic, has great movement skills. But for a Bears team that does need more depth on the offensive line and needs a center prospect to develop for the future, I feel like Tanner Bordellini could be the perfect fit here because I don't think he's ready to start right away. He needs to bulk up and get stronger. He's pretty small right now. His technique could use some work. His footwork in pass pro could use some work because he doesn't have too many starts at the college level, but he can afford to sit on the bench with the Chicago Bears because we already have 2 guys in front of him in Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates that he could learn behind. And he does have the ability to play guard as well. So if injuries do happen, if he does have to play, I think he could fill in because he does have that versatility. But looking at his RAS score, first of all, one of the most talented athletes in this entire class. Okay, you guys can see 9.78 RAS, very fast, very agile, very explosive. The only thing he doesn't have is size. You guys can see he only weighs 303 pounds, so maybe he could bulk up a little bit, get stronger in an NFL offseason. But there's a lot of centers in the NFL that are not the biggest. I mean, that's why they play center. They were undersized in college football, but they found a home in the NFL playing in zone blocking schemes, which the Bears are going to be running. So he could be a perfect scheme fit here with his ability to get up and down the field, with his ability to move laterally as well. He has pretty good pad level when he's engaged in his blocks. He's a very good run blocker. I feel like at the NFL level, he could be a great run blocker right away with how well he moves, how well he seals off those rushing lanes. And he has shown mental and physical toughness as well. He actually suffered a torn meniscus in 2022 during fall camp, but only missed 2 games during the season because of that. So it's a gritty dude, a tough dude, a very athletic dude, and he could be a fantastic piece to the Bears offensive line. And with the 132nd pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the Chicago Bears select Taj Washington, receiver out of USC. If the Bears do trade back and get extra picks like they are getting here, I think the opportunity to reunite Caleb Williams with Taj Washington, and Taj Washington is only going to be, the receiver number 4 on the roster next year, but still, the opportunity to reunite these guys on the same team, I think would be too good to pass up for the low cost of only a 4th round pick. Taj Washington is very small. Okay, at the NFL level, I think he's only going to be a slot receiver. If you look at his testing, he's only 5'9", 174 pounds. Like, he's not going to be playing on the outside probably at the next level, but that's fine. I mean, especially in the 4th round, like getting a high upside slot receiver still could be a fantastic pick for the Bears. And if you look at his RAS score further, like, he did not test that much. He didn't run the 40-yard dash or do much agility testing, but explosion drills were pretty good. But if you watch him on tape in that USC offense, he was very fast. Okay, he accelerated very well. He made a lot of big time plays down the field for Caleb Williams and stretched that field in that USC offense. But especially after the catch, I'm very excited to see what he can do at the NFL level, because in college football, he was pretty deadly after the catch. Okay, working in the middle of the field, he got a good amount of yak because how he can change directions, how twitchy he is, how he can accelerate. He's pretty tough also in the middle of the field, which I value a lot in a receiver. The ability to go across the middle of the field, take a punishing hit, but still hang on to the football, still track the football. Todd Washington did that multiple times in the USC offense for Caleb Williams. Like, I honestly like him a little bit better maybe even than Brendan Rice. I know that Brendan Rice does have the Rice last name. His dad was Jerry Rice, but you can make the argument that Taj Washington actually was the better receiver in the USC offense, and that Taj Washington could be better at the next level because of his movement skills and his route running skills as well. And looking at his stats, guys, so last year he had 1,062 receiving yards and 8 receiving touchdowns. The year prior he had 785 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns. And you can see the other stats he had on the screen right now. He also played at Memphis before USC, but overall a pretty solid college career. Having that connection already built with Caleb Williams, I think could be pretty big, because if the Bears have injuries at receiver, Taj Washington could step up big time, and you can never have too many pass catchers in the NFL. So there you have it, guys. That's the entire mock draft. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys to see it in totality. But pick number 1 obviously was Caleb Williams. No surprise there. Pick number 9, I got lucky and Rome Odunze fell to us. I think in real life, if Rome Odunze does fall, it might be too tantalizing for Ryan Poles to pass up. So I got a big time receiver at pick number 9. Then I traded down from pick number 75. Got a couple extra 4th round picks. I picked up Braylon Trice. Solid rotational pass rusher. I also added more to the defensive line by drafting Mason Smith with my next pick. Then I went back to offense. Got Tanner Bortolini, a center prospect to develop for the future. And I also reunited Caleb Williams with his receiver from college football, Taj Washington, at the end of the 4th round. So let me know what you guys think about this draft in the comments down below, and also let me know which draft did you like the best. Did you like the Bears trading back the best? Did you like the Bears trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr. the best? Or did you like this draft the best, where I just stay at pick number 9, don't sacrifice future assets, but still trade back later, okay, to get some extra picks? Let me know which draft you would prefer the most down below in the comments. But I cannot wait for the NFL draft, okay? Only about a week away. It's going to be so much fun. As usual, stay tuned for a lot of draft coverage on my YouTube channel. But leave your comments down below, guys. As always, bear down.